Hey everyone, welcome to Up Late with Roberta. As you're aware, the other night I put up a post on Instagram and then on Facebook for anyone who wanted to ask any questions about me to hear the answers directly from me instead of the bullshit that's put out in the media. And I got a few responses, or quite a few. I'm going to get through as many as I can tonight and see where we go. So here we go with the first question. Marie Capolini. How did you and Carl meet? Carl and I met at my sister's house. He was a friend of my sister's and we met there one day and became friends from then. Anthony Montesano. Did you and Benji have feelings for each other? No, we didn't have feelings for each other. We were like brother and sister, but we didn't have feelings, like intimate type feelings, no. Catherine Blythe. I read your book and I really loved learning about you, the real Roberta, who the real Roberta is and the struggles you had faced in life. It's one of my favourite books. Do you plan on writing another? Yes, I plan on writing another, Catherine. So that's in the pipeworks at the moment. Alison McVicker. She just responded to Catherine. Catherine Blythe was for sure a great book, broke my heart, parts of it. Anita Jorgensen asked a few questions. What is life like as a mother in the spotlight? Being a mother in the spotlight is no different really to anybody else other than you get a little bit more attention than others do. And apart from that, I carry myself on a day-to-day basis as any other normal mother does, looking after her children. What advice would you give to a mother whose child has been recently diagnosed with autism? My advice to any mum or any parents that have been or just recently had their child diagnosed with autism is don't take the disability on as it is your own. It's the child's disability. And it's not be-all, end-all. It's what you take from it and how you move forward is how your life progresses. So you do the best you can. Try not to treat the child any different to any normal child and you'll really progress. And that's what we did with Seppi and we seem to be making a lot of progress with that. How hard is it to raise 5 beautiful kids? As any parent knows, kids are difficult at times. They go through their teenage years. But my children are great, always have been. You know, you have your ups and downs with your kids as any parent does. And we have a great friendship and relationship, but there's also boundaries that I'm a mum as well, I'm their mum, and you know, when we muck around, we muck around, and when I'm being a mum, I'm being a mum and I'm being serious and they know that. How hard is it? Oh, sorry, that was last question. What is life like for the real Roberta Williams? It's what I don't really know how to answer that. Life for me is normal apart from the media attention that we get. And being the real me is just me. I'm at home, I look after my kids, I do my day-to-day duties, and that's the real Roberta Williams. In the spotlight, the media portrays you as they do, and I'm portrayed differently on the TV and in the newspaper opposed to what I'm like at home because they have a choice in the way they portray me, whereas at home I'm just me. How has becoming a grandmother changed your life? Becoming a grandmother has changed my life dramatically. I'm absolutely in love with my grandson. He's truly amazing. And at the moment he's just turned 8 months old, started crawling, eating food, noticing so many different things around, and he just makes my life an amazing place. So being a grandmother is truly one of the greatest things apart from having your own children that can ever happen to you. Would you prefer a life not in the limelight? Of course I would prefer a life not in the limelight, but I've been tossed into it and I have to deal with it the best way I can, and I just continue to move forward the best way I can. So yeah, I just deal with it as it comes. I don't think about it. I don't think of, you know, what's tomorrow going to come in the media, or what are they going to say about me, or whatever. I just deal with it as it comes along. Just moving forward, Paige Victoria Aitken. How do you feel about how the media portrays you and your family? Would you have done anything differently in your life? What age was your baby boy when you found out he had autism, and how did you cope? I hate the way the media portrays me and my family, because the real me is so totally different to how the media portrays me and portrays my family. So hence the reason why I wanted to start doing my podcasting, because I want people to get to know the real me. What age was your baby boy when you found out he had autism, and how did you cope? Giuseppe was just over 2 years old, and I had a feeling that he had something wrong, and then when he started showing signs of autism, I realised that he had autism. Other family members didn't want to accept it, and I just said to them, I have to deal with him, you're old enough to deal with yourself. I've got to move forward with Giuseppe and progress as best I can, and you guys have to catch up. So once he was diagnosed, I was devastated. I sobbed my heart out after we left the specialist rooms. I sat in the car and just sobbed and looked at him through the rear vision mirror and just broke my heart. But then I got up and said, I don't have the disability. My son's disability isn't something that's an illness that's going to kill him. He's not going to die from it. He's going to just move forward, and we're going to help him progress as best we can. It's very upsetting when your child is diagnosed at first, but then when you realise that they can do so much, you just move forward with that. And, you know, he makes progress every day. He learns something new every day. And it's any little thing they do is amazing to see. So, yeah, it's devastating, but you got to live with it and you learn to deal with it. Richard Amaro, Roberta Williams, I would like to ask the real life compared to the TV series Underbelly, how much was it real? Richard, it was an absolute load of bullshit, and that's all I can really say. I don't want to elaborate any further on that. It was just a load of crap. Although people will still believe what they see, and that's their choice, but I can't change everyone's mind. So, yeah, answering that, it's a load of bullshit. Richard Didcock. Has the events of your life placed a fear and stress on you of retaliation from idiots? No, I don't have any fear, so I'd answer no to that. Richard, yeah, I'd answer no to that. I know there's a lot of idiots out there, but I have no fear of them, none at all. Hope that's not too personal or insulting as was meant that way. I do look forward to the podcast. Richard, it wasn't at all insulting. It was a good question. Mark Reese, is retaliation from idiots just low-life police trolls writing crap on Facebook? Mark, probably, no doubt there are a few, because as we know, some police officers can, you know, it can go to their head and they can be real dicks. And yeah, I'm sure they do. But there's a lot of jealous idiots out there who tend to write their bullshit on there because they see that people see it on social media and it gives them a kick, I think, to have people, you know, arc up at them and have a go at them when they're giving me crap. So, yeah, in saying that, I really appreciate my followers who always stand up for me and have my back. Then we've got Arlette Thursey. Hi Roberta, I'm just wanting to ask, did you ever go through domestic violence with Carl, and if you did, how did you cope with going through that, plus have your little kids with you? Arlette, no, there was no domestic violence involved in Carl and my life. None at all. Tig and Jasmine, precisely how much do you love me? Tegan, I love you to death. There's no words to describe how much I love you, so just know that I love you, and I love you immensely. Another question from Richard Didcock. Actually, I have another question regarding your last interview with Akka, where you walked out. When you agree to these interviews, do you lay down laws with them as to what they can ask or not? I remember you saying this wasn't agreed to. I really am looking forward to these podcasts for some clarity from your side for once, and not the cut and snip media. Yeah, in saying that, yes, that's why, I don't know if you could clearly hear in the hallway when I was having a go at the interviewer, I actually said to him, there was Richard Didcock. Actually, I have another question regarding your last interview with Akka, where you walked out. When you agree to these interviews, do you lay down laws with them as to what they can ask or not ask? I remember you saying this wasn't agreed to. I really am looking forward to these podcasts for some clarity from your side for once, and not the cut and snip media. Yes, Richard, that's why I did go mad, and I was, if you could hear, saying it was 7 fucking questions. Excuse the language, but that's what I said. 7 fucking questions were all we agreed to. And yes, I have the email and the text messages and everything that it was just 7 questions that were supposed to be asked. And then after the 7 questions, then they went into trying to bag Carl and Tony and saying stuff, and it just got me really annoyed, because they just went on from what was supposed to be to all their bullshit, and it just wasn't fair, and I didn't like what they were saying, and I just got really pissed about it, as you could see. And yeah, that's the reason why I said it was 7 questions, and they went far beyond the 7 questions. Then we've got Shem Bislak. Shem, I really like the post that I put up on his Facebook. Really, you know, all about kids and family and stuff like that, and I really love that sort of stuff because I'm family orientated. And Shem says, hey there Roberta, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Do you plan on staying in Melbourne, or is a new city or town on the cards? And in brackets he put, given you're active with all your children, I would say probably a stay in Melbourne. And then he says, so in that case, maybe if you could be anywhere else in Australia or the world with your family, where would it be? Well, definitely wouldn't leave Melbourne and leave my kids behind, because they are my world. But in saying that, if I could be anywhere else in the world, it would be the UK, because I absolutely love England. Spent a lot of time over there and I really love it. So Shem, the UK would be the place for me. Hayley O'Donnell actually writes a message, and then I respond, and then she writes another message. Hayley's a young kid who lived across the road from my first husband and I when we had our 3 children. They were young, and Hayley used to babysit a little bit every now and then for us, but spent a hell of a lot of time at our house, and she was like one of ours. And she messages, I wish for people to know the true Roberta Williams, The days we would sit outside and eat chocolate twirls and drink Coca-Cola, do late night shopping, watching Bananas in Pyjamas on your couch with Dan and Bree, tackling your insane laundry, folding, washing and doing normal things. I wish everyone knew the real you, not this fabricated bullshit the media has portrayed you as. Hashtag my teenage hero, hashtag I wanted to be you, love you. Then I write back, Hayley O'Donnell, you made me cry, as you out of anyone other than my kids have been a huge part of my life since you were a little kid. You virtually grew up in my home. Yes, we did all those normal things that people just have no clue, and one thing you kids were never short of was love, cuddles and time and attention from me. I was and am one of those mums. I was and am a mum, one of those actual real mums that a lot of kids dream to have, not bragging either. But you spent nearly every day and night in my house, and I love the memories you have that you so often remind me of. I love you so much, Hales. And Hayley messages back, Roberta Williams, I practically lived at your house and I'd never trade a day. You loved me like I was one of your own, so did Dean. I could always be honest with you and ask you anything. Your entire family took me in, including Sharon and Michelle. There was definitely no shortage of love in your home. Sharon and Michelle are my two older sisters. By the way, for anyone who doesn't know that, I remember I used to wear your clothes, and she's got two laughing face emojis. How funny, huh? I truly believe we have a special bond. No one can take that ever. I remember Carl so clearly. Danielle adored him. Danielle's my eldest daughter and she used to call Carl. I have that Valentine's message you posted from Dan somewhere hidden away. I also can say I've never ever seen you smoke a cigarette ever, and I saw you drink alcohol once at Ty's 21st. That's a fact. Ty's my eldest son, for anyone that doesn't know. The mum you are is the mum everyone wishes they had. Everything you do is for your family and kids. I will love you always and forever. Our bond is special and it's ours, and no one can take that from us. Signing off, Mandy the babysitter, as Sharon would tell people. My sister Sharon used to say that Hayley looked like a Mandy, and she refused to call her Hayley. She always called her Mandy, and it was a family joke we had with Hayley. And then I respond to Hayley by saying, Hayley O'Donnell, oh my God, rest her soul, my beautiful sister Sharon. She said you look like a Mandy, so to Sharon you were Mandy forever and a day. We had so much fun. You kids made my life so happy, and everything I did revolved around you kids. No, Def's not a drinker or a smoker, that's for sure. And you were in our house day and night, you'd know. My God, we did have fun though. There was nothing I wouldn't do for you kids. We were one big happy family. Yes, you and I have a bond that is forever, that's for sure. Love you lots, Hales. I love the way you remember so much about our lives when yous were little. Thanks, Hayley. That really makes me happy. She actually really does have a great memory, and she always reminds me of these really nice things that we did together as a family. Then we've got another question from Katie Hadfield. Hey Roberta, out of all your beautiful children, what birth was the hardest / longest, and how did you come up with all their names? I would say Brianna's labour was the longest, Danielle's was the hardest, but in saying that, all my births were long. They were over 24 hours duration, and I had pretty hard labours apart from Giuseppe, which I had a cesarean with, and that was so much different to giving birth naturally. So their names, how did I come up with their names? Ty is my eldest son. His name I just really loved from when I was a kid. His middle name's Lawrence, after my dad, who his name is actually Emmanuel, but everyone called him Laurie or Lawrence. And I also have an older brother, Lawrence, who we call Laurie, who is my absolute world. He's God to me, my brother Laurie. I adore him. So wanted nothing more than for my son to be named after my dad, who was killed when I was 8 months old on the road by a careless driver. He was burnt to death in a truck accident. And my brother, who I absolutely adore. Then there's Danielle, my first husband, my ex-husband, named Danielle. Not a name I would have chosen, but he liked it, so he named her Danielle. Brianna, who is my third eldest, my second eldest daughter. Her name, my sister Sharon, who passed away 12 years ago from cancer, she actually named her. I let her name her because she couldn't have children, and I thought she'd never get the opportunity to have the privilege of naming a child, so I allowed her to name Brianna. She was by my side through my labour, and she named her Brianna. Very different spelling, Breanane. She chose to spell it like that, and it was her choice. Brianna's middle name is Eileen, after my first husband's grandma, who was his favourite person on this earth, and he named her after his grandma. So Brianna and Eileen has a meaning to both her names, actually. Then we've got Dakota. Carl and I just love the name. We chose Dakota, really liked it. A lot of people, I've seen nasty people post on, newspaper posts when there's been a story written about us, and they say the Bogans put a H in Dakota. Well, we're not actually Bogans. We put the H in because we wanted our kids' names to be spelt differently, and we put a H in because it was different. So it's Dhakota, and that's Dakota. Her middle name's Lee, after my niece. That's my niece's middle name, so we named Dakota Lee after my niece. Then we got little Giuseppe, who is named after his father's grandfather, who passed away a little while before we fell pregnant with him. And my grandfather's name's Giuseppe as well. So he's named after his both great-grandfathers. Then his middle name's Sebastian, after his godfather. So he has a meaning to his name also. Everyone's got a choice, and like I say to people, they're your kids. It's your choice what you name them. People will love it or hate it, who cares? Your kids, your choice. So that's what I say when people have a bitch about kids' names and whatever. Then we've got a question from Alicia, Alicia is actually actually my daughter Brianna's best friend, and Alicia asked me, who is your favourite child? Well, Alicia, not Brianna. Def's not Brianna. Then we have Naomi Lee Bradley. What is your best quality? What makes you smile? My best quality is I'm a giving person. Too giving. Everyone calls me Mother Teresa because I just give, and I shouldn't to certain people, but I just can't help helping people. What makes me smile? What makes me smile is my kids and my grandson. Make me so happy that I would smile all day if they were sitting in front of me, and even when I think about them I smile. So yeah, I'd say my kids and my precious little grandson, who is truly amazing, makes me smile, laugh, cry with happiness. Then we got Ben Jack. He's got a couple of questions, but I'm only going to answer one, Ben Jack, because I've got so many I want to get through. were you really that in love with Benji? Obviously, you've got that from that show Underbelly that I call a cartoon. That's a load of bullshit. No, I wasn't in love with Benji. I love Benji like a brother and sister love. But apart from that, it didn't go beyond that. And there was no in love. But yet, I did love Benji to pieces. He was my family to me, and I loved him to death. Then we have Shayla Patterson. How come we don't hear about your other daughter? ? In Underbelly, you had another daughter. Another load of shit, from that pathetic cartoon Underbelly. I have 5 children, Shayla Patterson. Because the show was such a load of shit, that's why you didn't hear anything about mother-daughter, or, you didn't hear anything that was factual, because it was all a load of shit. And then a couple of questions. I don't have time to answer 10 questions from everyone, so... and Shayla Patterson ends off with, love you, by the way. Then we have Sal Love 7. Hi, Roberta, hun. Just want to say I like following just because you are straight up, no fakeness in your body whatsoever, like most humans out there. Can't trust no cunt, really. I'm a mum to 6. Nothing beats being a mum. I know from your pic stories that's all you were trying to do. Live a happy life with the fam. I've been through shit now. That's all I'm doing now is living for the kids. With the podcast, I'm looking forward to listening to it. If Carl was alive still today, what and how would you think your life would be today? I know... think Dakota would both of you would be so happy. Hope that wasn't too much to ask to the podcast. Of course, yep, if Carl was alive, we would be amazingly happy. And we would just, live our life and live it happily. Then we have Liz and Levi. Hi, Roberta. My question would be, if you could have a do-over knowing what you know now, would you still do everything exactly the same? And the relationship you had with Benji seemed so real. Granted, I only know what was on Underbelly, but also your beautiful posts to Benji. Do you think Benji was your true soulmate? I understand if you'd prefer not to answer that one, as it is a personal question, and if also never wish to upset Dakota. Liz and Levi, no, you would never upset Dakota. No one really would, because if anything upset her, she would come to me and we would talk about it, and I would make sure that she understood whatever it was that made her unhappy, and we would clear it, and by the end of the conversation she would be okay. Yes, I do believe Andrew was, or people know him as Benji, I always called Benji Andrew, so yes, I believe he was my soulmate. Then we have me.n.2. How did you find the balance to be able to raise your kids to become so well adjusted and amazing? I watched Dakota on her 60-minute interview and I couldn't believe how lovely and innocent she was, and I don't want this question to be offensive at all. I grew up in a kind of rough environment and I seen a lot I shouldn't have. It just filled my heart to realise you'd managed to shield her from that side of things and raise such a well-rounded human. So your secrets and techniques as a mother I'd love to hear, because you honestly seem like an amazing mother and your results are really speaking for themselves. Thank you, me.n.2. I really appreciate that, because I take my parenting very seriously, and I say my greatest achievement in my life is being a mum. I think all my kids are the same as Dakota, you know, very well spoken, well mannered, and respectful. And I just believe that I've never allowed them to sit around a table while the adults gossip and hear adult talk. I've allowed them to be kids, and that's what parents are meant to do. Let their children keep their innocence as long as they can. And I think that's how I've achieved my goal in my kids being so amazing, is because I've allowed them to be kids and not allowed them to enter the adult world until it's necessary. You're not a kid for very long, and you're an adult for such a long time. So next question, MJ746. Hi Roberta, I've been following you for a while now. I'm such a big fan. You truly have a wonderful heart and your family is so beautiful. I would like to ask a question for your podcast. Do you regret anything about your life, or would you take anything back or do anything differently? Being in the spotlight would take a huge toll on your family. How do you and your family handle everything with the media? Sorry, it's a few questions mashed into one. Thank you. MJ746. The media is a pain in the ass. It used to make me really nervous at the start. You know, attending Carl's court cases, you know, you'd know that there'd be 50 cameras in your face as soon as they spotted you, and it used to make me really nervous. But now, nearly 20 years on, I've been in the spotlight through no fault of my own. We've been thrown in there, and I just deal with it as best I can. And I'm so used to it now that it just really doesn't bother me. The bullshit they write about my family and I, pisses me off and bothers me. But apart from that, we handle the media because we just kind of tend to ignore it and, you know, don't let it bother us because they write so much bullshit about us. Brock Johnson. Do you think there will ever be a time the Australian media and the public in general will perceive you without the stigma of the former gangland days? What do you think that would take? No, I don't. I think the media will continue as they always have, you know, write bullshit about us, tell, you know, make up stories because they sell papers. Even if somebody we know does something wrong, it's my name that's in headlines on the front page of the paper because my name sells papers. So I don't think they'll really ever leave us alone. And the public, they tend to either believe everything they read or see that the media puts out there, and, you know, they're hell-bent on that's the truth and you can't change their mind. They live in the square and they don't want to exit that. But other people, or most of, you know, the general population, or most people tend to, you know that the media talks a lot of shit, and they just, you know, read it or watch it just for, you know, you watch the news. Lots of people watch the news. If you take it in, you take it in. Some people do, others just watch it to watch it. Then we've got Zachary Waller. Thank you for replying. I can't wait for your podcast. In the beginning of the Gangland War, how much did you personally have to do with the Morans? Did you, yourself and Carl, have much to do with Mick Ghetto in the beginning? Carl and I never knew Mick Ghetto, ever, personally. I've spoke to him a couple of times, but never, ever had anything to do with him. And only spoke to him because I had to on a few occasions, but apart from that, Carl had only seen him a couple of times in passing, and once at a meeting which was all over the media. Everyone's seen it on the news, and apart from that, no, I don't know the bloke. I don't want to know the bloke, and you know, he lives his life, I live mine. I really appreciate you answering my questions. If I were to purchase a DVD or book by yourself, could you please sign it? Yes, Zachary, I definitely would sign it for you. Not a hesitation. Myself and Dakota have the same birthday, which I think is really cool. Two legends born that day. And what was your opinion of Alphonse? I'm glad you asked that question, Zachary, because neither Carl nor I knew Alphonse. So my question to that is, I have no opinion on Alphonse because I didn't know him, nor did Carl. And if you don't know somebody, you can't have an opinion on them, is how I, or what I believe. Okay, DJ3138. Hey, here's a question for your podcast. I've never asked anything personal about your life when we have chatted, so this one is, I reckon, a good one people will like to hear. How did you keep focus on your kids and the normal everyday life things whilst everything was going down during those times in Melbourne? And do people now judge you for what they think is true, but is only media lies and crap? Hope those are good ones for your podcast. I stayed focused, DJ3138, because I made my kids my priority, and that kept me focused because I'm a mum. I was a mum back then, and they were my priority, so I focused on my kids and nothing else mattered apart from being a mum. And then the media will always have their lies and bullshit that they speak about me, my family and everybody else, so yeah, you can't change what they do and say, and they'll continue to do that. Plush thighs. How do you think the impact of losing your own mother was on you, and how you brought up your own kids? Because you guys look like you have a really beautiful and close relationship. I never lost my mum till later in life, and I never had anything to do with my mum from 9 years old, really. I was brought up in the system, so I wanted to be the mum that I always dreamed I wanted. I wanted to be that to my kids, and that's what I was, and that's how and why we do have such an amazing relationship, myself and my 5 kids, is because I'm a mum that I always wanted. So I have a great relationship with them because of that. Okay, Zoe Brindley. Hi Roberta, I've got a question for your podcast. Do you still speak to Adam Shand? Do you think there are any good journalists? Roberta, I've been following you for years and I think you're amazing. I hope all is well for you and your family. No, I don't talk to Adam Shand, Zoe Brindley. He's a shit talker. He writes shit in his books about people. He tries to add our names in like we're best friends, so people believe his bullshit in his books. But no, I don't have anything at all to do with him and never will. He's just a liar, and yeah, I just don't have anything at all to do with him. A good journalist, not that you ever find many, but yep, an amazing one, Anthony Dowsley. He is just an absolutely all-round amazing guy. Even though he's a journalist and you kind of think all journalists are the same, Anthony Dowsley isn't one of those. He's really good and a trustworthy one. And then we have, we're coming to the end, Sarah Yarnaris _ you have carried yourself so well throughout all that you have faced. I truly admire you in that. The things you have had to face, not only a mother, but as a wife and a friend, are events the average person would class as traumas. My question for you is, how have you managed to stay as strong as you have, aside from your kids, and how have the events over the last 2 decades shaped you as a woman you are today? Definitely been through a lot of trauma and stress, and I just tend to look at taking the next step forward, and that's how I move forward in life, is positively, is because I just think of taking the next step. There's no point in looking back at the past. It's gone. What's happened's happened, and you just got to look to the future and hope for the best, and hope that, you know, your future is amazing. And you can't dwell on the past. What's happened's happened, and you can't change it, so why dwell on it? And the last question is, hey Roberta, just seen your post about the Lauren. I answered Lauren, actually. Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all the questions. There was a few extras that I really can't answer right now. We haven't got a great deal of time to, you know, keep going on and on with 100 questions, but I answered as many as I could, and I hope I give you the answers that you were looking for. I answered as, you know, honestly as I could. I hope you enjoy my podcast, and send in any other questions, and maybe I can add them into my next podcast that I do in the future. But thanks guys for your questions. I really appreciate it.